It's been a frustrating night trying to get the teams for the All Ireland preliminary quarterfinals this weekend. Dublin, they're the one team that hasn't, so Dublin are visiting Laois, Westmeath are hosting Cork. I even tried messaging Matty Kenny, wouldn't send me the team. He's ignored the text so far, and it's 11:30 on a Friday night. Westmeath, they last reached a quarter-final in 1991 when they were hammered by Antrim. Don't think anyone would necessarily give them too much of a chance, even at home against Cork. Their current run of form, which is all from the Joe McDonagh Cup, it's 2 wins, 2 draws, or 1 draw and 2 losses. They've made 3 changes, so Joe Quaid obviously wasn't happy with the performance in the McDonagh Cup final against Laois, where they were soundly beaten. Conor Shaw, Jack Galvin, and Owen Price, they all come in. For Cork, in come Conor Lahan, Stephen MacDonald, Shane Kingston, Tim O'Mahony, and Christopher Joyce. Out go Aidan Walsh, Daniel Carney, Robert Downey, Sean O'Donoghue, and Luke Meade. The interesting ones that really stand out in this are Tim O'Mahony. He's gone in midfield alongside Bill Cooper. Bill Cooper, as a lot of people will remember, missed the first game against Tipperary, and his loss was incalculable. Of course, a lot of people use that to explain that defeat, but hard to explain the Clare defeat because he was part of that team and they were really, really poor that day. But anyway, Tim O'Mahony at midfield, he's played centre back for the seniors before. Didn't ultimately convince all that much. Now he's very, very young, but yeah, just there's a term I suppose that hurling people use an awful lot. Tries to do too much hurling when you're in the back line. That's not necessarily the greatest thing in the world. So maybe midfield will suit him a little bit better. Hard to know. He played full forward with the under 21s last year. They got to the All Ireland final and ultimately lost to Tip after hammering Tip in the Munster final. Darragh Fitzgibbon has moved up to centre forward. You can see how that would suit him. His pace, drop deep, collect the ball, run into the defence. You'd imagine that would cause problems for Westmeath. But Cork will be winning this game, you'd imagine, no matter what. So if they're testing out Tim O'Mahony midfield, Darragh Fitzgibbon centre forward, do they really know where they're at, assuming they win and go on to play Kilkenny in the next round? Couldn't say for sure. The inside forward line, though, it looks very, very strong. Alan Cadigan, Patrick Horgan, and Seamus Harnedy. You'll do well to find a better combination of trickery and speed in Alan Cadigan, pure hurling in Patrick Horgan, and Seamus Harnedy is a leader and a ball winner as well. So that's a really, really good combination. Half forward line, Lahan's back into the team. Fitzgibbon, as I said, with the pace, and Shane Kingston with that running power as well. So a very potent forward line. Not sure is the back line overly strong. Midfield is a bit of an experiment, so you can't say you'll be fully convinced by them just yet. Laois against Dublin in Port as I said, Matty Kenny hasn't released the team yet, even after my text. And Dublin won't be unused to going down here. They've played plenty of times here. Like Matty's brought our Coola team down there many times, Leinster finals, even the All Ireland Club final replay. So he'll be very sure of the routine that he wants for this. None of that will be an issue at all. I'm not sure if the home advantage will count for too much, maybe for a little bit. Laois are unbeaten so far. They went through the Joe McDonagh completely unbeaten, so that's obviously very good for them. Can they turn it around in so short a space of time? 7 days since the Joe McDonagh final. Obviously the players went out and celebrated, and probably on the double as well, because they're in Leinster next year. And realistically, even if they win this game, which they're underdogs for, they then have to beat Tip, Wexford, and probably the likes of Limerick to, it's just not really going to happen. So you'd be wondering where some of those players' heads are at. They last beat Dublin in 2005, and they've lost 5 games since in the championship by an aggregate of 66 points. One change for the Laois team, which I should have had up on the screen already there, and that is Donncha Hartnett he's out for Joe Phelan is after coming in, and as I said, Dublin haven't named the team, so that's why it's looking like that. A couple of points that I want to make on the Dublin team is Owen O'Donnell going to be fit, and if he's not fully fit, is it worth risking him, because Dublin should win this game anyway. Oisin O'Rourke will probably play full forward. Will Eddie Brennan allow a situation whereby Matthew Whelan, who's a big physical man and it wouldn't match up well with a fast jinky full forward, is he going to allow that situation to happen? So interesting to see that. Will Keane O'Callaghan be back involved with Dublin as well? As I said, the team's not named, so we don't know. One thing that I was wondering in the last day or so was will any team throw in a bit of a bolter at this stage of the season? You know, one of these young, untested, untried players at this level, and see what they can get out of it. Conor Whelan came into the Galway team in 2015 around this time of the year, and he scored 1-2 in a hammering of Cork in an All-Ireland quarter-final in Thurles, if I remember correctly. And the one that stood out from during the week was Brian Turnbull with Cork. Now, he was brilliant minor. He did his cruciate. He looks really like another Alan Cadigan, which would be no bad thing to have. And he played against Limerick for the under-20s during the week. I think some people probably would have seen that as that little scenario over in the corner where he got the ball, controlled it, it was down by his feet. He did a back flick and kind of nutmegged the defender, carried the ball in and threw it over the bar. Like it was a little touch of magic. And Shane O'Regan, of course, scored 1-6 as well for the Cork under-20s. But if Turnbull, who probably, you know, I mean, not fully sure what stage he's at in terms of his physical fitness, coming back from the cruciate. I know he was in with the Cork senior team at one point, but would John Myler be a little bit tempted to throw him in there? Mightn't be the worst idea in the world. Then Owen Cody is another one in terms of a bolter for this season. Scored 1-3 against the Galway under-20s for Kilkenny during the week. He scored 2 points in the club final as well, crucial for St. Kieran's. Only just did his leaving cert, but Kilkenny really struggling at the moment in terms of like free scoring forwards. And he's another Ballyhale guy as well, and that's not to be ignored, because if you took the Ballyhale contingent out of this Kilkenny team, where would they be at, and who would they be capable of beating at the moment? Like Joey Holden's in the back line, steady enough player, and I know he's had his critics over the year. TJ Reid is the best hurler in Ireland without question. Colin Fennelly is their main inside threat as well, and a very physical player that's absolutely required. Adrian Mullen looks like the next great Kilkenny player as well, and Owen Cody I've just mentioned as well. So take those players out of the Kilkenny team, and what's left? There's not too much artistry, not too much magic. That's worth thinking about. The provincial finals are on on the same day this year, as we know. There was a proposal that the Munster and Leinster every second year did play one of the finals on Saturday and one of them on Sunday. And I remember when last week, before the explanation was given that about why Munster wouldn't want to do it every second year on a Saturday evening, a friend of mine who's a Gaelic footballer said, why on earth wouldn't you do this? And I said to him, well, for one, the low sun when you're playing in the evening in the summer would be terrible and possibly ruin a Munster final to some degree, even if the spectators don't have their vision absolutely blinded. The players certainly will. And he scoffed at me altogether. And then another club hurler who's a mutual friend came into the room, and I said to him, low sun obviously is the reason, and he goes, yeah, of course. So it's one of those things whereby if you play it, it's something that you understand. If not, it probably seems like an alien thing. And Munster then came out and said that the low sun would be an issue. But perhaps like a 4 or 5 p.m. throw-in, would there be any problem with that every second Saturday or every second year on a Saturday for a Munster team and a Leinster team? Because is it at the stage now where, back in the olden days, a lot of the reason for no Saturday fixtures were so many people work on a Saturday? So is that still the case? I'm not fully sure, but it is an unsatisfactory situation to have the 2 games on the one day, and especially with the Joe McDonagh as well.